victory lives with Nicole Elizabeth Squires, only on LA Talk Radio.
Well, welcome tonight to the Recovery Switch. We are so happy for you to join us. You know, the Recovery Switch is about empowerment. It's about growth. It's about getting off that couch and making movement. It's about being a part of life change. And we thank you for being a part of our audience out there, being a part of our purpose. And we thank you for that. Tonight we have an incredible show. It's kind of thought-provoking and a serious matter, because we are dealing with this all over LA and around the world right now. Thank you. There's my co-host, Chuck Mason. We have tonight our guest, Duke Givens.
Hello.
And we have Antonio
Gilberth.
Yes. I keep saying that wrong, but thank you.
Welcome, guys.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you all for having us.
They are filmmakers, and they are making documentaries that are mattering. So let's get into the subject of some of the issues. We're talking about gang and fatherless kids, absentee fathers. This is a problem. This is a major problem in LA and everywhere. They're from Long Beach, but I think it's a worldwide epidemic at this point. I want to read you some statistics. In 2050, there has been related crimes of 18.3%. It has gone up in Los Angeles. There is actively 450 gangs in Los Angeles. This is just Los Angeles. Not talking about Chicago, Detroit, everybody. 450 gangs. That's pretty deep. And we have about 45,000 individuals that are part of these gangs. And the sad part about it is there's no direction. There's no purpose behind it but to cover their territory and make sure they're protected. And I get that. And it's a feeling of longing. But that feeling of longingness or being a part of something comes from a lack of something. So we're going to discuss that, and we're going to discuss the issues. I mean, gang activity has been a part of Los Angeles for over 50 years now, and we need to stop the issue from continuing on. We have people dying every day, and this black-on-black crime is an issue for me, and brown crime and Asian and Asian crime. All of it matters at this point.
Correct.
So let me know a little bit about you, Mr. Duke Givens.
Hello. I am a Long Beach native. I got my formal education through the Long Beach Unified School District. Went to the greatest high school on the planet, Long Beach Poly High. You guys probably have heard about it.
Okay.
Did my time when I graduated, I wound up joining the United States Air Force.
All right.
Did 4 years of service during the Desert Storm conflict, and when I came home, as you said, I got a chance to see a lot of the guys that I grew up with made those life choices.
Right.
And I wanted to do something that was in a creative way that could be a vehicle and a voice. So I wind up going to City College and becoming a photographer.
Okay.
And made a calendar that had a very, very large impact in our city. Great. And from there, it kind of just morphed into where we are to this day.
So the calendar, what's the calendar about?
The calendar was a Stop the Gang Violence calendar.
Oh,
it
okay.
featured on the front cover, which are my childhood friends, Snoop Dogg, Warren G, and Nate Dogg. So they were on the front, and we wind up going into the inner city of the 6th District and areas like that in Long Beach, and we addressed that issue of stopping the violence. So I actually went to men and women who are in the gangs and just asked them, what could we do to stop? And give me basically your testimonies to let kids know not to come down that route. So that's what we did.
That's powerful. I would have never thought of doing that, but that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
I like that. Do you still do the calendar?
It has matured into film now. Actually, I may do a remake of the first one. We've been, it's really a sought after item. So yeah, we may do it in the future.
I like that. I like that. I like that you gave a face to it. A lot of people don't give a face to it unless you see a documentary, but a calendar that you see every day.
Yes.
That's pretty neat. I like that.
Yeah, put it on.
Yeah, it was a calendar that depicted many of the people in the neighborhood. And what was so unique about it is that it captured them in their element while they were gangbanging. But years later, these people started to disappear because they either went to jail for life or they were killed.
Oh, wow.
The other unique story is I was actually in that calendar because me growing up without a father, I gravitated toward the gangs before, I started doing other things.
Yeah.
But I was blessed to actually travel the world with Warren G. And I took
Wow.
the calendar and I distributed it in places like Japan and Europe.
Wow.
So that
That's
calendar
great.
actually has legs all over the world.
That's
That's
terrific.
amazing.
Yeah,
Oh, good. I'm
that's really
glad.
good.
Oh, wow. I don't know why that has struck me because it just feels so, it kind of brings it home. I could just see that calendar inside your
Yeah.
house and you're like, wow, that's real.
Yeah.
What kind of results did you get from it? Did anybody say?
They are still highly sought after to this day. It's kind of like
Wow.
a yearbook of, just a community that they always reminisce about, certain individuals. So a lot of them were saying stop the violence, but because they were still living it, they lost their lives. So now when we, sometime I may go into my archives and bring pictures up of people that I interviewed back then that have love, in our neighborhoods.
Right.
It really, points back to that time. And it lets the kids today know not to go down that route.
So tell me, did anybody, are you working with Stop the Violence, the program?
Actually, no, I am not, but I'm not too far from, meeting
Yeah.
with those organizations so
Yeah,
that we can
because I think it
collaborate.
would be great.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that should continue on for me. I'm thinking,
Yes.
because the people who are not a part of gang activity or it's not in their neighborhoods, I didn't know anything about it.
Right.
So different people, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Different people should know this is a reality because, when you're in suburbia and you're like, oh yeah, there's gang activity, you see it on the news,
Right.
but it's not real. You know,
'Cause they're far removed from it.
right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and when you're talking about 45,000 individuals, and these are mostly kids or some older people that are part of the gangs. This is just gangs, just in
That's it.
LA. So we're talking about millions across America.
But if you think about it, why is it that the gangs form?
Yeah,
You know,
and let's
there's-
talk about that. Let's talk about the reality of that.
You know.
Because it says for protection.
Yeah.
It deals with it for fellowship and brotherhood. This says intimidation because somebody is causing problems in the community. But criminal activity. But tell me, because you were.
Well, it's to cater to a need, to fill a void. Why do
Exactly.
people
Okay.
come together? And this is directly related to what we're talking about today as far as fatherlessness, because it's an epidemic. I was watching something on Oprah Winfrey, and she actually spoke on the epidemic of fatherlessness.
It
And,
is.
Right.
If you can imagine a person that doesn't have a voice,
Mm-hmm.
and all they do is punctuate, and when I mean punctuate, I mean the grunts, I mean the violence, the anger. These
Mm-hmm.
are punctuated
Yes.
terms. They don't articulate because they don't have the role model to say, how do I actually talk to another man?
Mm-hmm.
Because, we think that, you're looking at me, what you looking at? Why are you looking at me funny?
Right.
Right.
And we start to grunt and we start to do these little dances instead of articulating and talking it out. And that's why it's important to have somebody to model after.
Yeah, and that, on the pendulum side to that, I was raised with my dad, and he always would have me to express myself in communication and dialogue. So
That's good.
that's a good point that he made.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know for getting back to the gang activity, because we're definitely going to get into that. But you said you were a gang member.
Yes.
So what I'm saying, I know that you wasn't, but what made you get to that point? That you felt that you needed to go that route?
Well, I got in early on. I got in the gang when I was about 8 or 9 years old. When you go into the community, you see all these fellas that look like something off of television. They're built. They
Right.
got all the girls around them. They have the attention where you're just a figment. You're just a shadow. You're in the background. And my mother was a remarkable woman. She did the very best she could, but there was no dad. I remember my mother loved music, and her and my brothers and I, they'd be, well, not I, but they would be dancing and playing, and I would be in the corner just analyzing everything. I was real quiet because I was trying to find my purpose. I
Right.
was trying to find where do I fit in, and I just couldn't see myself in the picture. But when I went into the neighborhood, open arms. So I identified more with the guys in the street because
was
here I
gonna
had
say.
this anger brewing, and I could relate to them.
Right. So, like a lot of gang members, when they join a gang, is it that they're just looking for like family? This a certain type
It
of,
fills a need.
it
Yeah.
fills a need, like whatever they're lacking or missing in their own family,
That's right.
they feel that the gang is their family. I always,
What's the most
kind of hear
important
that.
thing there is on this planet?
Love and family.
Love.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
that's what that common goal is everybody's looking for love.
If you evaluate your friends right now, don't you guys have common goals or things that you can talk about?
Yes.
It's the same thing as you going into the street. If you don't know how to articulate and you punctuate, wouldn't you go with people that can punctuate the same as you?
Yeah.
So they validate your position.
That's
And
a
this is
good
why-
point. Wow.
And I don't mean to keep rambling on, but this is why Duke and I gel so well, because we grew up blocks away from each other in the same neighborhood. Although I went in one direction and he went in another because he had his father,
Right.
we still remain friends. But he and I are able, we talk a lot, you know, we talk about our business ventures and what we're trying to do. And sometimes, you know, it's not always smooth, but because we know that our friendship is real, we're able to discuss some things that will impact in a positive way, because we don't want to highlight, we understand that. We don't want to highlight the negative.
I gotta talk crazy to him sometime.
We
You do?
each other.
Oh, don't say
I'm
that.
just playing.
But that's in any
That's it,
relationship.
that's it.
I think that's all
Just
men
joking.
relationships,
That's it,
yeah.
Well, that's any
What you say?
dynamic relationship. Even with a woman, it's not going to always be so smooth.
So,
Yeah,
so true.
So Antonio, you said your dad wasn't around. Was that from like when you were real young, or?
It was when I was real young. As a teenager, we met back up, you know.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so what made you come out?
What do you mean come up?
Come out the gangs?
Well, my mother used to tell me I was wearing a mask, you know, but she said, be the best at whatever you do. So when I was in a gang, you know, I tried to be the best at whatever I did. But see, I wear
Right.
the scars from growing up in that lifestyle, the bullet holes, the stab wounds, because I had no value for my life.
Wow.
You know,
Right.
I would put myself in front of other people to protect them when they didn't even care if I died or lived. So
Wow.
I had to find my purpose. But my mother, what she did was she instilled in me a seed that continued was watered. Every time I went home, she was praying.
Yeah.
I remember when I walk in the house and she'd be on her knees praying for my son, pray for my son.
Yeah.
That would
Yes.
just that would shock me to my core more than her.
Look at the camera, man. Tell the camera that again.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, say that again, please,
Well,
because I'm
please.
like,
It would shock me to
pray
my soul.
mamas.
Yeah.
Yes.
pray
Well,
about
that matters. You know,
Yes.
and right now we're in a godless time,
Yeah.
and that's why things are starting to spin more and more out of control.
Yeah.
But like I said, when I used to come into my house, and my mother, it got to the point where my mother wouldn't even challenge me anymore, and she would just be praying. But the prayers were more dynamic than just her, what are you doing? What is this and this and that?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was at a point where, you know, the whippings didn't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to get a whipping, and I just look at her without any emotion because I used to internalize so much. And I think,
Wow.
you know, when I turn on and talk, I can turn it on. But usually I'm a quiet individual.
Yeah.
I'm
He
more,
really is.
I'm more observant. I'm more
Right.
analytical.
Yeah,
You know,
likes to say
Right.
it from-
so, but that mattered. But as I got older, I started to find myself studying and reading more because I said, what's going on? You know, I tried to find my voice, so I studied psychology and sociology and all these different things. And Duke could tell you, sometimes he says, why are you using all these big words on me? But
Hey, you've been reading, huh?
right, but what I find is
I like
sometimes
that.
when you don't have the mentality to express yourself,
Yeah.
somebody else might have said exactly what you were
Right.
feeling at the time. And that's why it's important for talk shows and television that accentuate the positive,
Yes. That's our
because
mission
people need to
statement.
see that, because you reinforce bad behavior and you can reinforce good behavior at the same time.
Now, what happens to like when you want to leave a gang, and you know how do the members, you know, look at you?
That's a very
You know.
deep question.
Well,
know.
I think it was different for me because I have a lot of homeboys who are supportive.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't
Oh,
say
praise God. That
was-
praying grandmama.
Yeah.
well, let me well, the dynamic is different because, you know, it's not like I said, forget y'all. You know,
Right.
I still love my homeboys. I do.
Yeah.
You know, but my thing now is that I try to reach out and help these brothers because I understand it. You know,
Right.
some people you can never help. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Right.
But they understand that it's not me against them. It's that if I become successful or if I'm able to do something for them, then that's when
Okay.
I'm going to help. But right now, it's not just the gang, it's the city. You know, I love my city. And now I'm going after
Yes.
purpose.
Yes.
You know, I'm a grown man. In the Bible, it says when I was a child, I did childish things, but I put those things away. I'm a man now. You know, so now I'm going after purpose.
And
Wow.
that's why they, and when I say they I don't even use the term gang members. I just look
Okay.
at them as, you know, just the guys and men in our community. Because like you said, words have power. So when
Yeah.
you start wrapping those cords around people's neck, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, then you become what you say. They have allowed me to be a voice in our community, though. They have, because they know that our heart and the mission statement that we have, accentuating the positive, we will put messages out that shows the human side of these men and women.
That's nice.
And with that, that's why they allow us to do what it is we do.
Yeah, because the media is so derogatory about everything, and it's one-sided. I know for a fact that they depict the gang activity as the most horrific thing, and I get it. And I'm not condoning anything, but I know for a fact it is what kept some people alive, but they are killing each other too.
Yeah.
So it's like a catch-22. You're in the middle, and for him to have made it out is remarkable, to the fact that God has allowed you to have a lane that he's created to try and help other people to realize, like you said, you've taken a bullet for somebody and that person don't even really care.
Well, what you just said is symptomatic. You say that, when we kill each other, it's symptomatic, because if I don't value myself, then how can I value somebody that looks like me?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but there's a lot of brothers, like Duke said, that they're really intelligent out there, but they know who's real and who's not real.
Yeah.
And if they see two real individuals stepping up and saying, this is what I'm trying to do, and they know that it's to help people, that it's out of love, then that really makes a difference.
Yeah. Some years ago in San Diego, I used to have a production company, and I brought record companies down and I dealt with the city. And I had inner city youth that we would go, and try and get them some purpose, because a lot of inner city youth or gang members are into music.
Right.
So I decided that I wanted to reach back and bring them, give them some kind of purpose in life. So when you say some of them intelligent, oh my gosh.
Yes.
I had a young kid. He was a student. His lyrical content was ridiculous. I brought him before the record companies. They were interested. At the time, it was MCA with Randy Jackson, the guy in American Idol. Yeah. And Warner Records was interested in signing him. And the problem happened on the first day of the new year. New Year's turned. That night, he got killed.
Wow.
On his front lawn. And the other young man who was intelligent, and his father actually was in the military, mom and dad, but they ran together. This is in San Diego. They both were killed on their lawn in front of their parents. And that struck me so hard, because I knew how intelligent he is. He did not really want to be part of this. He had been in it since, I think, like around 10, and he was 16, and he had no father. The other guy had a father and a mother, but for some reason they went to the same school and they found common ground. So he just did what the other one did. And so the one that's 16, he was a student. When I say a student, and he died.
And see,
I'll never forget that.
That right there hurts my heart, because how can you say you love someone and don't want the best for them? We want people to live. As a young person, we think we know it all.
Yes.
We challenge our parents, we challenge our friends,
Right.
But when you become of mind, sound, and body, when you become older, then you start to look and say, wait a minute, I'm wasting time, if you're blessed to make it.
Yeah.
And that's what Duke and I, we love our community, and we're talking about our community as a whole, not one fragment, our community as a whole, and we want people to live, to enjoy this life that God has given us.
Yeah, because there's no guarantee. Like, I just don't even understand, because he had just been in juvie, and I had to go before the judge to get him returned to me. And I told him about the program. I just bought him a bunch of clothes for the show. I had just set him up everything for him to die. And I could tell you, that still rings with me. I know his mother grieved, because she was excited that he had an opportunity. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's kind of sad what goes on with gang activity. And like you said, you say, members of the community, because gangs are basically brought into the situation because of lack of, like you said, love and attention. So that's why the topic of absentee dads And
That's the backstory.
that's
though.
the backstory of the whole thing, because some
Yes,
of these
totally.
kids, and even some of the kids, like you said, who do have fathers, their fathers are not, like, I know the young man who the father was in the military, but the father's always gone. I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of absentee dads because their fathers are out of the country.
It's interesting that you
They're
said-
fighting the war.
Yeah.
My dad, he made it a point. I knew where he was at all times. He was at Home
good.
Depot.
Yeah.
He don't have a cell phone. He was at work, or he's in
Okay.
the front yard. He just got a
That's
green
good.
thumb. And where we lived in Long Beach, he still stays in the same home. It was a community home.
Right.
Everyone who comes to Long Beach has been through our home.
Wow.
And he opened his doors. And another interesting thing is Dad had a unique way of discipline, and that's still good too. Not saying that you beat your kids, but my dad would do the craziest stuff, like us, a bunch of us, it's 7 of us all together. But my
wow.
oldest brother and sister, they had, my brother joined the Marines and he did 20 years, but me and my brother Clifford and the twins, we were kind of mischievous, but Dad would do stuff like strip us down to our tidy whities and make us run out in the community,
What, really?
do push-ups, wet you up with a water hose. Yeah, I said, where was child services back then?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Brother talking loud in the house, he just come in and stick a rag in his mouth,
Wow.
throw a sheet on him.
But here's
But it
another
had respect too, though.
Yeah.
Right. The other unique thing is that, we say we're looking for that model of who a father is supposed to be.
Yes.
But Mr. Givens was that one for us too,
Oh, yeah.
because, like I said, we live down the street from each other. So when I walk down the street and I see Mr. Givens out there, watering the grass, or I had to see what they had to go through, we kind of look like, is that what a father is? And, when we come over to the house, because we used to be in the garage, we pull up our pants,
Oh, yeah.
we make sure we right, because he wasn't tolerating that.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Oh.
had a glimpse of
Yeah.
what it was supposed to be.
So true, so true. I know in your situation, your father died at 6. You were 16 when your father died, and he kept you close. But
Yeah.
up until that point, because but you tell a little bit about your story.
Yeah, my dad had passed away when I was just 16. So, I had, a short 16-year life with him, and miss him dearly.
Yeah, sorry for your loss.
Yeah, thank you. And he was a school teacher. He taught culinary arts. He also had his own catering business. So, he taught me how to cook and, get in the kitchen. And so we would cook all kinds of different meals and, to help out with the catering. And then we'd go out and we would cater parties. And it was just tough, I was the oldest of 4, 2 brothers and a sister. And just to push on every day, and your dad's not there. You see all the other kids with their dads, and and just trying to figure out, how am I going to make it, and then help my mom, and not get caught up in the in the street gangs, in my hood that I lived in. I lived in the jungle back then.
Oh, yeah.
And it was pretty tough in the jungle, but I just had to keep my head on straight and stick with the right crowd.
So he's like you. He had that father, at least present till a certain age.
Yeah, he was always there.
Yeah,
He was
see,
always around.
and answering that question too, I never really got a chance to know my grandfather, because my grandfather, and it's not to speak negatively on him, but just he did some things that would cause him to not be present in my father and uncles and aunts' lives. And he was in Oklahoma in the 50s, so some guys wanted to get him, so he had to leave. But my dad made it a conscious effort to say that I will take care of my children no matter what, and he's lived that mantra. So with that, to those people out there who may have had those issues, you just make up that mind to say, you know what, I'm going to do it today. I'm going to,
And you can.
Create a new normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, exactly. Because like you said, it's at epidemic level. But going back to the military, I have people in the military, families, and it's not easy. These men are deployed.
And women.
And women are, my
Yeah.
niece is a lieutenant commander, so
Outstanding.
they're deployed. But if we're
Yeah.
talking, being with the absentee fathers, the fathers are very important. And they're sent overseas for 6 months at a time, or a year at a time, or 2 years at a time, and the mother's holding it down. You got boys who are turning
Yeah.
teenagers.
Yeah.
That's where, and that's a good question, and it's just in all different types of places of employment where, you know, certain jobs call you to be gone. That's where community comes in. That's where church comes in. Everyone
Right.
has to kind of link arms, and we are a village. You know, we do have uncles, we do have mentors, we do have police and firemen, and I live in Long Beach, but, you know, I have a lot of mentors still to this day. You know,
That's great.
You know, the chief of police, you know, city prosecutor, you know, pastors,
That's
you know,
great.
just the entire community. They belong to us. We belong to them. And when you have that, then you can kind of articulate, you can maneuver in this thing called life, because life is very, very difficult. You know,
Sure is.
like
Yeah.
like when we were young, my dad taught us how to swim by throwing us into 17 feet of water.
Oh, yeah, I did. I went through
You
that.
been there too?
I went through
Wow.
that.
You remember that? And
I'm also the last of 8. And my father would put
I'm like,
put us on
what?
his shoulders and said, "Ooh, there it is."
but he's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Uncle's there.
Yeah,
So
that's
even though
a
you're
realness.
nervous and you're
Right.
in this water and you tread and you don't feel like you're gonna drown.
No.
Yeah.
So when you have that as an analogy and you understand that thing, you know, you can make it in this thing called life.
You're
Oh, that's
right.
good.
You know, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
You do have that surety that he's
Yeah.
there. But, you know, my father was a police officer, so from Trinidad, and
Yeah.
he was one of those very, 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 very strict. Like I said, I'm the last of 8. So when he rolled up, the whole
House shut it
community
down, huh?
scattered. Like you said, you got to pull up the pants, you got to be like this, if you even want to step into his presence, you know. So I get that. I get that fully. So tell us a little bit about this documentary, because I want to know, you're really touching on a subject that we can go in so many ways. Tell me what are you
is
doing?
Emerald in the Rough is the new film. The first documentary we completed was called The Game Don't Change, Just the Players. And it was a documentary that featured and touched on that first calendar and all those people that were in that calendar. But then what I started realizing is that was the backstory. Why is it that it's happening? So you got to deal with the root problem and the father. So like when we were talking a little earlier, it always came to me, the question from the beginning. God asked Adam, "Where are you?" And when you put something like that to context, he's hiding. He's hiding in so many different ways, and that's all of us in certain retrospects. And it's not woman per se, it's man. And when we can get to the point where we can start accepting responsibility and then identify it and then act upon it, I think that we'll be successful.
All right. So what we'll do is show the clip for their documentary. It's going to say the name again.
Emerald in the Rough.
Emerald in the Rough. We'll take a look.
Morning, everybody. Good morning. All right, last week we were talking about rhetorical economic cycle, and we're going to pick up on that right back where we left off at. What's up, man? Yeah.
What's up?
What's up?
Pops just got locked up again. Nothing big.
Nothing big. Hey, who here has a father who is active in their lives? Raise your hand. Just one person? So if you needed somebody to call, you can call or go knock on the door. You don't have your father that's going to answer the call. Just that one person. How are we expected to become great fathers if we don't have that role model in our lives? Have you ever thought about that? Everybody knows that you may want a kid and want some kids. How are you going to be that great father without having that father in your life? So what I want you to do tonight for homework, I want you to take down a sheet of paper, and on one side of the paper write down everything that your dad did not do for you. Everything that you wanted your dad to do for you, every event that you wanted him to be there for you, every time you needed somebody to talk and he wasn't there, write that down on that one side of the paper. On the other side, write down everything that you promised to do and be for your son. And make sure that you break this cycle, because we cannot continue this cycle. No one taught you how to be a father, so you have to take it upon yourself to learn how to be that father for your kids and break this cycle.
All right. Well, thank you for watching our video. The video, like I said, it's powerful what he's doing. He's making a difference, and this is going to be life changing because everyone around the world is going through this. It's an epidemic, like Oprah said, and we have all witnessed it. I have friends who are single mothers. I know a lot of fathers who are deployed, some people who have died and lost their fathers. So we've all been touched by this situation and this epidemic in some way. And there's a lot of great men who, some women have remarried and they became the fathers. And we're not taking away from that because we thank God for you guys. But at the end of the day, some people still want to know that father, the natural father, and they want to get to know him, and that's where some men falter. They don't realize there's still a need. There's still a desire. So, so to let us talk about your documentary.
Emerald in the Rough is a title because, like you said, no one is perfect.
Yeah.
If that was the case, you would be a flawless diamond. So it would have
Right.
been called Diamond in the Rough. But
Right.
we dealt with emerald
Right.
because we're all gems.
Right.
Everyone is a gem. We're all unique. I would say that God has no favorites, but he has intimates.
Oh, like
Yeah,
that.
I'm going to let you have that one, too.
I'm taking that.
Take that. And the rough represents where we all come from. Like you said, there's just so many different stories that everyone has. We can all, exchange story for story from,
Right.
brokenness and things of that nature. But when you put them together, it'll show a picture of a very beautiful story that's going to be told in this documentary.
Yeah, I noticed that you have a lot of city leaders backing you here.
Watch out now.
I love that. I was watching all the city
Takes a
leaders.
village.
Yeah, it takes a village.
And you know what? You're right.
What we've
Yeah.
learned in the process, though, is if you stay true to the things that you have been tasked to do by design and by purpose, like Antonio's been talking about, people can trust that. And in trusting that, then, they give you their resources and their time. And actually, more than money and even their time, is just when they trust, it opens the doors for other things. So that's what's very important.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because it was impressive. I like when, like you said, your reputation shows by them coming on board because I know even to get where I was in San Diego and getting to know people, you have to build that reputation
Yes.
up.
Yes.
They have to see results. People don't just, especially leaders, because they're such in the public eye, they don't want
Yes.
anything bad coming
Right.
upon them. So I admire that
But
in what
they
you guys doing.
But also realize that these are leaders that genuinely care about the city.
Yes.
I mean, these are some genuine individuals that we've
I
been
like
blessed to know.
wow.
And I'm tell you, I mean, that's what we feel.
Yes.
I mean, we're embraced. They treat us very well, and they just love their city. So
Yeah.
they want to get on board with positive, something positive.
That's such a rare thing
Yeah.
from politicians that are actually real, huh?
Oh yeah.
Wow, I like that. I like that. So with this now, you're talking about in the documentary about fatherless. What perspective are you taking?
The perspective will be based on me, my dad, and my son.
Okay.
But we're going to do it in a unique way where we're going to link all the races and the backstory. So we'll have different topics that we will be discussing, but it'll embrace into different cultures and how they deal with things, and then show how we're all just one human race and how we all just need to make this film a reality where people can understand that we're all the same and not different. We just accentuate on all our commonalities.
That's nice. That's nice. I like that because we are all the same in some ways. Like I said, with everything we do, if you could be black, Latino, Asian, white, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could be from financial demographics. It doesn't matter because the rich have absentee dads.
yeah.
The poor has absentee dads.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. And some women are actually having kids without fathers
Yeah.
purposely because they have gone through years
True.
of building their careers and they feel void. And there's a lot of men.
That's another discussion.
It's a whole other
that's deep, yeah.
discussion.
But that's
that's
the
another
rough
show.
though. That's the rough.
That's the rough.
Yeah.
That's the rough. It's just
It really is.
It's just so many just different things. But there was an experience that I went through a few years back where I went to the mountains with my pastor and some of the brothers at the church, and it was just we out in God's country, up in Yosemite. And one of the brothers almost fell off a cliff, literally.
Oh,
So
wow.
we had to make a human chain, and I happened to be the one at the base holding all of these men.
Woo.
And we had white men, Latin men, and black men all together holding each other. And at that moment, I just felt an impression of God just saying to my heart, you know, this is your family under the canopy of heaven. So with that, once we start understanding, he said, where are you? We're here. We're here holding
Yes.
one another together.
Right.
We're all a family. And once we
He
start,
gave me goosebumps when he said that. I could just
that's real.
picture that.
Oh,
That's,
yeah, it
that's
was
powerful.
and
It's very.
it killed another stereotype too, because you know when you hear the term in black culture, we say Uncle Tom.
Right.
My pastor's brother's name is Tom, so I saved Uncle Tom. So I just shoot
Saved
that
him.
right up. So anybody who ever say that to me, I'll just say,
That's
I sure
right.
did. I saved his
Sure
life.
Did. Yeah.
So
Wow,
Duke,
that's
Duke
powerful.
said something powerful. We have to stand in the gap. He
Mm-hmm.
said, "Where are you, Adam?" So we as men that want to make a change, we have to stand in the gap, and we have to be that light. We have to be that person that inspires a dialogue, and that's what Emerald of Rough is all about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there's programs with mentorship, and like I said, the young people who I brought on, Dion Watson and his wife Danielle, in Compton, they're trying to make some difference in
Yes,
Compton, and
yes.
you guys are trying to make a difference in Long Beach, and I'm just impressed with people stepping up. This is not about I'm just talking. Y'all are doing. You're
Thank you.
out there. You're doing footwork. You're doing documentaries. You're out there with the cities. You're in there getting other people to. You started off with a calendar, which was a dream and a purpose, and moved to other things. This show is about just giving the platform to people who want to make a difference.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movement on the grassroots level, and what's important is that people see that these things are taking place.
Yes.
Because usually,
That's good.
we don't hear or we don't think the politicians are doing anything, whereas we just highlighted it and said, yes, they are.
Right.
They're really doing a lot of beautiful things in Long Beach. But reason why we've embraced film is because you're able to see it. When you go into a movie theater
Visualize it.
and you watch a movie and you feel the music and you walk out just feeling like you just are energized. For example, like when Rocky came on.
Right.
Everybody
Go
knows
out
the
there and get
music's
knocked
going,
out, huh?
Yeah.
and everybody coming out the theaters thinking they can fight.
Yeah, or climb them stairs.
Yeah.
But-
I was like,
but there's a magic, there's a dynamic to that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have to see things that inspire us. And that's why the film medium is very important. It's not just about talk.
Yeah.
No. I know the power of film. I know the power of music.
Yeah.
And I'm not just going to highlight anybody who's just doing a documentary. I looked into what you guys were doing, and I see the power. And I see the heart behind it. That's the thing about me. A lot of people are doing documentaries just to do a documentary.
Right.
But if you're doing a documentary with purpose, and you've lived it, and you're trying to truly make a difference, you're trying to part the Red Sea in the process, it is serious.
You said music. So when you hear a song that has no feeling or no purpose behind it, it's just beats. It's
That's
just
all-
tremble.
That's all it
Exactly.
is.
Bass. But
That's
the
all it
music
is.
of old, when you can feel it,
Yeah.
when it makes you close your eyes or put
Don't
tears
start
and
me.
make you fall in
Don't
love,
start me.
that's
'Cause
something
you
else.
know-
He closing your eyes.
Honey, don't start me. Or you could clean the house to it on a Saturday morning. You're dancing.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's
all that
that's
old
what that.
school
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
is
And
all
you-
about feeling.
Yeah.
Feeling.
gotta bring
you
it
It
know.
was
feeling.
emotion
Yeah.
and it was warm and different
Yeah.
things like that. That's
It
what
meant
Earl
something.
and I spoke of when Earl was here, Earl Espy.
Yes.
He and I spoke on that because of the fact that I am would love to get that back. So I'm glad you mentioned that. It's just I would love to feel that passion and
Speaking
feel.
about Earl Espy too, he is a very unique individual.
I
Yeah.
love him.
Yeah, Earl is
Yeah.
Love Earl.
Yeah.
Earl
Earl
Espy
is
is my
cool.
narrator for the first film, and we're going to bring
Game
him
don't
on
change.
board for Emerald in the Rough.
terrific.
He's a mentor of sorts, but he's so creative. He's so articulate.
Yes.
And through his hurts, his pains in life, he just said, "Young man, you're gonna be all right." Because when I first met Earl, it was in the context of me kind of trying to rub him the wrong way.
Oh,
Yeah, but his wisdom would have me, He said, "All right, now, young man, don't have me put something on you that the doctor can't get off of you." So
Earl,
with that made me just really, really just have a good affection for Earl. I like him.
I
love him a
Earl.
lot.
I love
That's
him.
for you, Earl Espy, huh? You tune into the show. Get my $8 you owe me too.
Well, we
Y'all
have
fun.
a call. We'll see. It might be
All
Earl.
right.
We'll see.
boy.
Hello. Thank you for calling the Recovery Switch. Hello?
Hello,
Yes. Who do we have on?
this is Bill Hicks. Chuck, how you doing?
Oh, right. How you doing, Mr. Hicks?
Hello, Mr. Hicks.
All right, how you guys doing? You got some
Outstanding.
amazing guests today, man. Wow,
Well, thank you. Thank you, Bill.
wow. You know, I had to take a break from my partying to listen to this one. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that.
Yeah, most definitely. And I was actually at the Lobster Fest in Long
Long
Beach.
Beach.
You keep talking about Long Beach.
Uh-huh.
The
And I'm like
LBC.
saying, wow, man, I got brothers from Long Beach on
That's
the
right.
station.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
you
but,
enjoyed that
know,
lobster, didn't you, Bill?
You know, I got some raggedy equipment here. The part that I missed was, where is your film? Where can I see it?
You mean the game don't change or Emerald in the Rough?
Emerald in the Rough.
We're that's why we're here on the show. We're getting ready to get into deep production right now. We're in the process of raising funds for the film.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great,
he
great,
asked
great.
what
Okay.
it's an Indigo or what
Yeah,
one?
Indiegogo. You want to share with them?
He's doing an Indigo. He already did the documentary. The first documentary is already out. And where can they find that?
If they go on a Facebook page, The Game Don't Change, and type that in, then there's a link there where you can actually buy it.
Right,
page.
and that one is more about gang activity, right?
Yes, highlights.
Highlights gang activity, and it's really good. It really is, because I was seeing the highlights from it, and it was powerful. The different people. That's the one that Snoop came in, or that's the
Yes,
other one.
yes.
Yeah, Snoop came in that one.
Right.
So it's really highlighting some great thing. But this new one that he's doing, and they're going to do an Indiegogo fund to sponsor it. It's really incredible. I was like, wow, this is what is needed to talk about right here.
Yeah, if you type in Emerald in the Rough film on the Indiegogo, it'll take you right to the page.
All right, then. That's what I'll do. I want to see both of them.
Yes,
You
sir.
guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. Good
Thank
job.
you, sir. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, guys. All right, guys.
Save
Take
some
care.
lobster for me, man.
Yeah. So and he's a good man. He's a really good man. He came in and spoke on aging. He's one of the guests that's been for, but he's a father and he's been there, married a father, and he's one of those genuinely good people that come.
he's good people.
You know,
Come
you
aboard.
ask him to show up, he's gonna show up. If he's gonna be there with you, and
support you.
and you went to high school with him.
Yeah, we went to school together.
So it's a situation like that, but he's always supportive. He's always there, and when he say he's gonna support you, he's gonna support you.
Outstanding.
Yep.
That's the type of
That's
person.
Bill. He's
But
got your
yeah,
back.
yeah.
All right.
So
We'll receive that.
but Earl is an amazing man, and I really love the conversation, and I love all the things that he's doing, and I really appreciate him letting me even know about who you guys are.
Yeah.
So they are doing this Emerald in the Rough, and this is a documentary that's really going to highlight a real story about realness in the Long Beach community about absentee dads. And I want you guys to go to Indiegogo. Now tell them again, please, make it really plain. How do they go to this fund, and how do they support you? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? Are you on Instagram? How do they get to you?
The best place to get to us is the Emerald in the Rough doc on Facebook, Emerald in the Rough doc. And then if they go to the Indiegogo page, type in Emerald Film, and you'll see a picture of Duke, his dad, and his son.
Yeah, I love that picture, by the way.
Watch out now.
I know, that was a really good. I know you're a photographer and everything, but you didn't have to show out. Okay.
We're gonna start arguing because I'm artistic direction.
Hey.
Yeah, but it's
well,
just-
that was good.
It's really awesome to have. And what's amazing about Antonio, and that's something that we have to start doing too, is accentuating other people's gift mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yes.
just Antonio is self-taught. I went to school, and now sometimes I'll be like, "What you doing? Help me out here." So
Right.
he's an artist now that has really excelled in photography, and now we just a great team. You know.
And you know that happens because there are kids who can play by ear,
Yes.
and there's the ones who are
Read
taught,
yeah.
and they read music and everything, and neither one is more better than the
Right.
other, because natural talent is amazing,
Yeah.
as well as
God has
being
given
learned.
us
You
some
know,
amazing
yeah,
talents.
right.
And one of the good things, see, when you have a friendship, with purpose, I'm going to say it again. When you have a friendship with purpose,
Yeah.
it's like iron sharpens iron.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to give you a little bit of story. So I came from corporate America, and I excelled very well. I made very good money. And then the economy changed. So I was left with the decision, do I go back to work and feel the same stress of the day-to-day grind, because you want to be the best at whatever you do, either in the street or in corporate America. So it was Duke that actually encouraged me to form my multimedia company. And at first I was like, I don't really want to do it. But like you said, God gives us these gift mix. You put your hands on something, and all of a sudden you're doing very well. It's like, how did that happen? Well, you give glory to God. But he encouraged me to basically go.
You got your own business now?
Yeah.
Watch out now. Okay,
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
No? That's it. Huh?
From that point
That's
on,
good.
we've been doing a lot of
We do it.
different
Make it happen.
artistic ventures.
Wow, and I love how you say about that, because I'm sure you can reach back and help other people, teach them how to do the
Which we have
corporate
done.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I could just imagine that, because I feel that from you guys, because so many people in the black community, like we had a discussion, no one is teaching them how to own their own business.
Yeah.
That's why we buy from everybody else. And it's good when you have businessmen reaching back now and saying, how about we take your talent and teach you how to do different things? He started his business at 16. He's a detailer to a lot of celebrities and everything. Didn't start off that way. It was neighbors. And a next door neighbor taught him. And then it went from there to something else to something else. So you don't know where God is going to lead you. Now, most people can't afford him. But you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I like what you said, because now you formed your own business, and now you can help other people. And you're like we were talking in the back room, you know about the taxes, you know about different things. You're doing it correctly, because the problem with black businesses is that it's not done right, and IRS will come in, snatch everything, or they're hiding the money or doing whatever because they don't know what really to do.
I understand what you're saying when you use the term black business. Culturally, I think, and this is something that, because we live in California, we live in such a multicultural type of experience out here. For us, how we were raised, it's a little different than other pockets in the United States.
Okay, tell us about that.
Yeah, and with that, I do believe that you should support, your community, the demographics of where you live. But that's something that in this film that we're going to try to dispel that too, of just saying like the black church or the white church or the black business or the brown.
People.
Yeah, because I want, and this is something that has made me become an artist and a filmmaker. I want us to be. I go to her because she's a good dentist.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No, and I'm saying that
Yeah.
in that context. I want to go to him because he makes good soul food. I want to go to him. I just want to get rid of that colored line. That's what my mind was.
I totally
Stigma.
agree with that, but we still need to educate.
Yes.
Because of the fact that most of my kids lived in suburbia. So they have been raised around certain things, and I've always been a business owner. So they've seen that.
Yeah.
But when you have children that I have come across in my business that really do not know,
Right.
and they have lived in a box. I remember the first time I visited Newark, New Jersey, and I saw the projects, and I'm just like, people actually live like this? And I'm like, and think about it, that's their world.
Yeah.
So how do you make somebody understand there's a whole lot of other world out here than this little box that you're living
That's
in?
interesting that you say that, because the calendar to this day, like we spoke about, is very, very highly sought after. I'm using that as a for example in this demographic area.
Right.
You can speak it, you can share it. It's like even the word, the Bible, it's preached
Yeah.
week in and week out, but
Yeah.
people are going to do what they are going to do. But if we stand on our beliefs and inclusion,
Yeah.
I believe that helps people that are in those little pockets that only see it one way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree to a certain extent, but my problem is what I've seen is like with the absentee dads who are on
Yes.
crack, absentee dads
The reality.
the reality.
Right.
And they don't have anything they've seen. Their mama's selling crack. Their daddy's selling crack. Their mama just threw the baby out the window. There's so much so much pain
Rough.
going out of there, rough.
Yeah.
And what's happening to Detroit right now?
Yes.
And I just want,
Chicago.
right. What's happening in Chicago?
Each-
Washington.
Each one, reach one, teach four.
Exactly.
Is our motto. You know, just not one person. You got to teach multiple people, and then I'm not going to even say hope. Like I believe it. You know,
Yeah.
it's just the people that we encounter. You know, we put ourselves.
But even with you, I'm not trying to cut you off, but even with you, I mean, we gravitate to maybe in your work. But if you see a black man come up to a black kid and say, "Here, this is how you do it," do you think he's going to listen to you more than another person, or should we all mix together and just teach him as a kid?
I think we should all teach him as a kid,
Okay.
and
Who do you think he'll recognize mostly?
of course
The person
you
that's
identify.
teaching
Yeah.
them.
See, I think to kids they're when you become of a certain age, then you start to understand the dynamics of your race versus their race and all that other things.
Right.
But a child only sees that person that's trying to show him love or teach him something.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic too. That's just very deep. That deals in and goes into prejudice and racism and just so many different things. It's like
Yeah.
Right.
what planet did we land on again?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
We
you
got
know,
so much work to do.
hey,
huh?
we have work to do. We have work
we
to do.
do.
Look, I thank you guys for coming. You know, the show always goes fast. I tell people
Oh,
all
wow,
the time.
that's it? That's
Yeah, our time is up, and I just want to thank you, Antonio,
Thank
and you,
everybody for
Duke, for
watching.
coming out. And please support them in their journey
Please.
as they're trying to make a difference. Again, to the Recovery Switch family, I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for being a support system on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're going to revamp the show. We're going to be doing more things. Look for, keep watching because we have some great new guests coming your way. So again, thank you for tuning in, and you guys, God bless and have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
You're listening to The Recovery Switch, where victory lives with Nicole Elizabeth Squires, only on LA Talk Radio.